Alright guys, Zachman18 here. Welcome back to the WTZM TV channel ET Superstation. It is time to continue on with our Let's Play of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney on the DS. And we're still checking out Phoenix Wright's final trial from 7 years ago, so let's head back into it. Oh, by the way, I just finished filming the weekend celebration. I know I said in the post show that I wasn't going to upload a Apollo Justice part tonight, but I took some time to, I found some time to actually do that. So, without further ado, let's do it. Very impressive, Mr. Wright. I have to say, I expected nothing less. We've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually. I did not think you would believe me if I told you. Better that you discovered the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know. I think we need less thinking and more talking. That night in the hospital, what really happened? Ah, the way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You're scared Trucy. Speaking of which, where is she? You've seen the problem yourself, the letter. The one shot in the forehead one, right? Yes, and the reason he speaks of. I could not deny my mentor's wishes, even if it meant my own death. Why not? This is something I will not say, for now at least. What's this for now business? I've done many things in my life, some well, some poorly. But this is a cross we must bear along to our graves. We? You wanted to know about the night of the incident? Finally, this guy sure likes to take his time getting to the important stuff. Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time, and found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. 2? Yes, the one I had used on stage, and the one that had been used by my partner Valent. Oh, for the Zack and Valent's quick draw thing. My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I could not deny that my resolve faltered then for a moment. You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him? Recall there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first. So there were other requests you couldn't refuse before? To be honest, I have not always been steadfast, and I fear I've brought pain upon Trucy. Was Magnify coercing his disciple somehow? Just what was going on in Shoot Gloria? Yet in the end, I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. In your pocket? I believe if you examine the bullets in the clown's head, you will find it to be different than the one in my mentor. What were those called? Rifling marks? Yes. Well, that is all I have to tell you, concerning the case. Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me? Heh, ha ha ha! You are a fascinating man, Mr. Wright. Thanks? Yes, there is something... My mentor, his eyes opened. What? Magnify Grimoire? The old devil, he was not asleep, you see. Of course, the gunshots would have woken him anyway. And there we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so. What did you talk about? Ha ha, Mr. Wright. Did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case. Zack Grimoire, he seems pretty steadfast to me, or maybe just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom. Once again, I am in your hands. Right, let's get back in there. Huh. Interesting case. This is definitely my favorite one so far, from what you guys have told me. Court is now back in session. During a recess, a bullet was found in and dug out from the clown's head. Well, this is news. And the rifling marks? There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis, though they did find the weapon type matches the murder weapon. Well, that's not very conclusive, is it? Which is why I'm about to call my very decisive witness. Your decisive witness? How many times have I heard those words? Though they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. Oh, don't worry on my account. I'm quite confident this witness will do the job. After all, he isn't intimately acquainted with the players in our little production. Being the other half of Chip Grimoire's famous duo, Zack and Valent. Valent Grimoire. So we get to meet the great Magnify's other disciple. So this is him 7 years ago. Perhaps we'll start by asking your name and occupation. Valent Grimoire, magician. And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student, your partner's guilt? Fate, the grand illusion, filled with traps and tricks. Wait, the shooting took place in that hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there that late? If one were to deduce this logically, the conclusion is yes. Okay. I always get the characters, don't I? I have an interesting fact for you. You see, several days before the crime, my witness received this. That looks very familiar. Wait, that's the same letter Zack Grimoire received. Yes, or perhaps I should say tada. Order! And what does it say? Surely not the same thing. Perhaps you should see for yourself. Why, it's practically the same. The court accepts this into evidence. This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with you folks? What exactly was your Sukamari up to? By which you mean? I'm just having trouble envisioning a man who would have to choose to kill him. Both of them, no less.
It's just my opinion here, Judge. But from these letters, I'd say he was coercing them, not asking them.
We walked the magician's path together, and in so doing, shared much of our lives. When people here are so close, there's a strain, a warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. By which you mean you're not going to tell us. Which makes me wonder even more about this reason they couldn't refuse. Well, let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant, Zachary, stands accused. Tell us why. Oh, I'll do more than that. For when he walks, the red roses rise singing hymns to the miracle that is magic. Fascinating. Though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as a suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now the 2 bullets found at the scene. In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. Ha 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 ha. As every magician knows, timing is everything.
Yes. And now it's time to get this party fired up.
Alrighty then. The night I visited the hospital room with the time magnifier requested, the smell of gunpowder hung in the room and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet to deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss I gave to the clown. Then I informed the doctor and the police. So you were the one who reported the crime? Indeed, I would think. This fact alone would declare my name as suspicion. Let's not jump to any conclusions. Yes, the cross-examination generally comes before the conclusions in this court. But if your testimony proves to be true, then the defendant, Zachary, is guilty. And if it wasn't Zachary, then the killer was you, Valent. A no disappearing act will get you out of that act. Here we go. Hold it! Hold it! Which, according to the letter, was 11:20 p.m. Indeed, magic timing is everything. Right. Consider the illusion of teleportation. If I were to appear on stage before my stunt double is left, how would that look? Why, it would reveal the very secrets of my magic.
Now that you've revealed the very secrets of your magic for all of us, let's move on. You went at the designated time, and what did you see?
Hold it! So, you weren't worried for your own safety at all? I mean, you smelled gunpowder, yes? What if the shooter was still nearby? I did not consider this, to be honest. It is forbidden for a magician to have a good imagination. Oh, really? Isn't magic all about illusions and imagination? How about this? You were the shooter, which is why you weren't afraid. Now you are the one imagining. It is forbidden for a lawyer to have good imagination. The words were refrained from pausing so suspiciously before responding. My forbidden imagination is starting to imagine things. Hold it! Hold it! God. Being unresponsive. Which brings us back to this reason neither of you could refuse. So it does, and my partner, he did not refuse. But Magnify wrote the same thing to you. Why could you refuse if Zach couldn't? Because I have a will to steal, of course. I also do this trick where I bend steel bars, so perhaps steel isn't all so strong. So which is it? Mind if I continue? Hold it! There were 2 bullet holes in the scene, one in the victim and one in the clown. You're saying the one who shot the clown was you? I've no doubt my partner Zach said much the same thing. Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed murder. I better dig around here a bit more and see what I turn up. Mr. Valent, let me ask about something else concerning this crime scene, namely, the bullet in the pistol, the location of the pistol, or the number of pistols. Bullet in the pistol. Alright, so we'll work our way, starting with the number of pistols. How many pistols were there when you entered the room? By which you mean what, precisely? 2 pistols were used in the Zack and Valent quick draw shoot-'em, correct? One for each of you. You are well informed, yet? Only one of my old friends sat in the hospital room that night. What did Zack tell me back in the lobby? Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time, and found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. I see no problem with that statement. Only one pistol is visible in the photograph of the crime scene, after all. So you picked up that pistol and fired it. Indeed I did. Alakazam, alakazing, alakaboom. Is the number of pistols really so important? I'd say it would be. The number of pistols is quite important, Your Honor. Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey? Alright, so this has got to be what we got to present on. Only one pistol was in the hospital room that night. With it, I shot the clown. No, because we have that stage pistol, which is that other pistol that was fired. Objection! According to the defendant, Zachariah, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on that table. 2? One of those pistols he used to shoot the clown in the forehead. Then he left with it in his pocket. Of course, this is what he would say. Unlike the helpless clown, we must assume our defendant has some brains in his head. Well, what about what Mr. Vallon has told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make sense. What might that be? I told you I took the pistol that was there and shot the clown. That's your story, at least. Huh? But the rifling marks tell a very different story, Mr. Vallant. Recall what Prosecutor Gavin told us. We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with a bullet fired from his gun. The rifling marks on the bullets were a perfect match. Mr. Vallant, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead. Sorry. Yeah, baby. Order, order, order! Well, this is all rather sudden. What have I done? Prosecutor Gavin? I owe the court an apology. Sorry. Sorry for what? You see, I was unaware that 2 of these unique pistols were crafted. The analysis of the rifling marks only proved the type of gun that fired them. But that's not what you told us before. You said you'd verified the murder weapon. Which is why I'm apologizing to you now. Quite sincerely, I might add. Would you hold me accountable for a mistake made in my youth? That was just this morning. I am still young. And I might add it wasn't really my fault. If the defendant had only admitted he took 1 pistol from the scene of the crime, we would not be having this pleasant discussion now. Father Gomarie? Yes, Your Honor. You were presented to this court as a decisive witness, but you've proven to be more divisive than decisive. Objection! You'll see, in time. The testimony so far has merely been a review of the facts. The proof comes next. Care to elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin? When Mr. Vallant entered the hospital room, the victim had already been shot. As his next testimony will prove, Herr Wright, the real fight is about to begin. Bring it. Very well. The witness will now testify to the court. Help us determine who shot what. Alrighty then. I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20 p.m. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation, then called in the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. And the one in the room at the time was my partner, not me. Those times are rather close, you have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. To use a 10-minute discrepancy as the basis for your alibi. It's easy to explain in this situation, Herr Judge. For example, take our debut hit single 13 Years Hard Time for Love. Cue to the song, press the play button, and it will play for 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, the result is the same. Their debut single was only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long? What a rip-off. Magic's the world of utmost precision. Hocus pocus requires admirable focus. And in the time of death determined by the doctor, there is an incontrovertible truth. Very well. The prosecution warns us that we're dealing with rather precise times, and we can expect the cross-examination to require the same level of precision. I would hope the defense would refrain from its customarily broad, sweeping accusations, lest we blur the focus this case so clearly demands. Point taken. Baseless remarks will result in a penalty. Carry on, Mr. Wright. Carry on, right. Alrighty. Let's have some fun. Hold it! 11:20 p.m. Can you prove that's when you arrived? Alas, such a feat may be beyond even the great Vallant, for there was no one in that room but Magnify, and he was departed after a fashion. I have here defendant Zachariah sworn to deposition. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time. It was 10 minutes before I left the room, and the victim was still alive. The time indicated by this letter Zach was 11:05 p.m.
Exactly, which means the witness could not have entered that room before 11:15, because his partner was still in the middle of his crime.
I see someone did their arithmetic homework.
You see, the defendant himself has corroborated the witness's testimony.
Does that all make sense? Well, we haven't said the entire testimony, so we'll come back to it. Let's continue, shall we? Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. Hold it! You walk in on a murder, and the first thing you do is shoot the clown? The disciple is what the disciple must. My mentor's request without requital has caused for me a surfeit of sorrow. But what should I, Valentine, be know without him? May the soul of magnified the great find greater peace above. This I muttered to myself as I pulled that lonely trigger.
In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we have already learned. I'm still waiting for one of those right moments, Herr Attorney.
May I remind you that baseless remarks will earn penalties. Proceed with that in mind. Yes, Your Honor. What a pain this is turning out to be. Hold it! Did the doctor say anything concerning the cause of death? Why, yes. I believe he screamed, "My God, he's been shot in the head." It doesn't take a doctor to notice that. I believe I would have said much the same thing.
And I would have penned the requiem that arose in my soul at the horrid sight.
Whatever happened to good old-fashioned investigation?
In any case, I believe this is nothing more than what we have already learned. I'm still waiting for one of those right moments, Herr Attorney.
Sorry.
We've already heard this already, jeez.
Hold it!
I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say I have some doubts about this.
How could the doctor be so precise with the time? We usually only get an estimated time of death, true. I'm not sure I've heard of a very verified time of death. Magic appears in making the complex appear simple. The reality is the opposite. What appears complex in this case is a simple matter of subtraction. I've seen other person has done this with their arithmetic homework.
The point here is that IV the victim was taking. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim Magnify Vermey's schedule. Every night at 11 o'clock, Magnify took an IV drip for 30 minutes.
I can see the IV bag right there, yes.
Now look a little closer. Follow the tube down from the bag to the end.
Ah, the needle's been removed.
Doubtlessly, it fell out when he was shot.
That would seem to be the case.
When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drips.
Ah, you could just measure the remaining IV liquid.
Precisely. The IV liquid functions for our purposes as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. From the amount remaining in the bag, it was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began.
And so it was, when I, Valent, entered that room. 10 minutes had passed since that horrible crime was committed. And this is proof. Well, Mr. Wright?
Did that seem important? I guess we'll say that.
Well, seeing how it is the biggest clue we have to the big time of death, I'd say it's very important. Agreed. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power of arithmetic. Very well. The witness will add this detail to his testimony. Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth.
Alright, so we gotta present on this one.
Oh crap, I pressed... Hold it. God, I'm an idiot. Did you notice the IV yourself by any chance? When first I entered that room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me. Next, the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead. And then his left arm did I spy, arose stooping and wilted. It stored the discarded IV needle.
Knocked in the vein by the force of the shot. Luckily for you. If that IV had not been there, why, you might be a suspect.
Doubly so. I might say it's thanks to my lucky color. Your lucky color? Indeed. Even today I wear it proudly behind my suspect self. For it always without fail brings me luck. For why when Zack and Valent won their first Magician's Grand Prix, yes, the very one held by the Association of International Magicians, I was adorned in its entirety then too, and our trophy a bust. Ah, what a day that was. This is one trip down memory lane no one needs. My lucky color, yes indeed, and Ivy too. I say I think it was huge, especially for me, Valent. That does seem to be the case, indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, any thoughts on this testimony?
Valent sure looks happy with himself. Okay, how about this lucky color testimony? Alright. Since this is the statement that he added, there's got to be a contradiction now. It certainly sounds like your lucky colors brought you plenty of luck. But not this time. Mr. Valent, your lucky colors betrayed you.
I'm afraid you have lost me.
Your Honor, the witness's testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence.
What?
Please recall my warning at the beginning of this cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Baseless accusations will be duly penalized. I do hope this latest accusation is well-based. Don't worry, I've got all your bases right here. Very well, let's hear the defense's claim. Where is your evidence that contradicts what Mr. Vallon has told us? Set his colors. Let's take a look at everything here. Okay. We got the badge. Crime photo. Wait, it's colors. Wait, that goes right with the crime photo. Take that. The crime scene tells all, Your Honor. The photo of the crime scene? Always talk of colors meandering from black and white, clear cut simplicity. Tell us, half-right, just where is the contradiction in this photo? My pleasure, and I assure you it's quite simple, but I can't promise anything in black and white. Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What in this photo contradicts the witness's testimony? Okay. It's got to be this, wait a second. This, like, jug over here? Vallon Grammarier, let's get one thing straight about your lucky color. It's yellow, yes? Kind of takes the mystery out of it, but yes. Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Wright? Because it's green instead of yellow. Yes, there is. Decisively wrong, in fact. Take another look at the photo of the crime scene. It's green instead of yellow. What's this? Confusion, doubt. Tell us what your elderly eyes spy. Even my elderly eyes can see a problem here, Mr. Vallon. Look at that IV bag. What is this? What? Foul mag? Magic. It would be hard to call the IV liquid yellow, and I'm afraid no magic was involved in the taking this photograph. Alaka, no! Oh my god! Order! What does this mean? This is some kind of mistake. Yes, Prosecutor Gavin, the witness's mistake. The greener they are, the harder they fall. Suppose there's no substitute for experience. Vallon Grammarier, as you reminded us several times, your lucky color is yellow, but the IV is clearly not. Well, this contradiction can mean only one thing. And to think, you almost had me. Huh? I see your true colors now, ex-attorney Phoenix Wright. Something you'd like to tell us, Prosecutor Gavin? As far as this court can tell, the witness's testimony does contradict the evidence. Yes, a contradiction. One that I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. Wright. How do you mean? How? Because the witness had made no mistakes. I agree at a glance that the IV liquid does appear sort of greenish yellow, but I assure you the liquid itself is quite yellow. Yellow liquid? How can you say that? As far as I can tell from this photo, it's green. Yes, but what color is the IV bag itself? The bag? Do you mean the plastic bag on the hook?
It looks like I want to say light blue.
Precisely. Figured it out yet? Put a yellow liquid in a blue bag and... oh, crap! You get green. This, incidentally, is the liquid's true color.
I see. Your explanation does have the ring of truth to it.
God dang it! As I thought, there's no substitute for experience, Prosecutor Gavin. What? You may tell a good tale, but you've just proven something rather grave. For you, that is. Grave? The liquid in the IV is yellow, yes. But how did this witness know that? It's quite unnatural when you think about it. You did think about it, did you? Didn't you? Your Honor, the defense requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, how did the witness know the IV liquid was actually yellow? Alakazam, OMG. Oh my god. I missed this music.
Order! Mr. Wright, you'll explain this at once. The witness clearly knows the color of the IV liquid, so I'm sure it means something, but what?
I can think of only one possibility, Your Honor. The witness, Vallon Grammarier, has testified that the IV liquid is yellow because it looked yellow, or he knew the IV liquid's color. I'm gonna say he knew the color. From the facts before us, the answer is clear. The witness knew that the IV liquid was yellow. Why? Because he'd seen it before. But not inside the blue bag we see in the photo. He saw the liquid by itself in a clear, colorless bag.
I suppose he would have had to, but I'm still not clear as to what all this means.
Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at a hospital? That's where you'll find your meaning, Your Honor. I'm afraid I find nothing. So what if he knew the IV liquid's color? Leave the getting excited over absolutely nothing to our teeny bopper fans' job? The IV liquid is the only evidence proving the time of death. A 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes worth of sand remaining. Your claim, Prosecutor Gavin.
I remember it well.
However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag.
Wait, I know. An hourglass uses sand, but an IV bag uses liquid. I'm right, right?
As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honor, no. Unlike the sands through an hourglass, the IV liquid enters the patient's body, at which point, like magic, it disappears. However, what if the amount of IV liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in. Let me get this straight, right? You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag? Not with water, but with IV liquid. That's how you knew the IV liquid was yellow.
Now wait. How might an amateur such as myself be able to perform such a task?
I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup. I'm afraid there's not quite a big difference between a cup and an IV bag. Point. Can you prove our witness is capable of such a feat?
He has a point, amateurs. I, at least, would have some difficulty pouring IV liquid into that bag.
You don't need to be an expert to see the look on the witness's face. He added liquid to that IV to throw off the time of death. I tire of these fairy tales lacking evidence.
Well, Mr. Wright, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth?
Malcolm-Marie, I'm afraid your magic won't serve you well in a life of crime.
Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting?
Magic relies on props, and props become evidence. Our witness was certainly able to increase the amount of IV liquid in the bag. All he had to do was work a little magic, and the prop was... Let's take a look through our evidence here. Crime photo, no. Autopsy, no. It's got to be an actual object. Ah, the syringe. It was washed and shows no sign of use. There we go.
The victim's syringe?
It's the perfect prop for the magically increasing IV trick, and easy enough for an amateur to use. What kind of evidence is that? The syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it. And don't you find that odd, Prosecutor Gavin? What? The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin shots. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. Well, Malcolm-Marie, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock. One that you could manipulate at will.
Alakazam!
Holy cow.
I do believe, well, with this being his first, that the burden of this trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin. I'm afraid that while there is a doubt as to the amount of IV liquid in that bag, the time of death cannot be proven, and that brings our trial to a close for today.
Well, maybe I can squeeze an extra day out of this. I can do a little much-needed investigation work.
I see there are no objections. Court is adjourned.
Oh my god! Dang it!
Ha 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 ha. Truly, there is no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to this truth so effectively. A word to the wise. Underestimate the young, and they'll sweep your fate out from under you. In a way you never ever expected. You see, I know exactly what you're thinking.
Huh?
What's he talking about? You say the witness used the syringe to manipulate the level of the IV liquid, but there is no proof.
There's no proof he didn't do it either.
Yes, quite true.
Huh?
He's admitting it? Nor was this witness quite as decisive as I'd hoped. This I admit, after all, why linger in the past when the future holds so much?
You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin?
Proof, Herr Judge. I have another way to prove my case. With evidence, no less.
What's this?
This is the victim, Magnified Gramarie's diary.
Diary?
After going into the hospital, Magnified began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, his startling debut, and of meeting his disciples. It seems he intended for the last chapter to end quite appropriately with his death. Wait, that book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request? Sadly, it does not. What's important here is on the last page. Apparently, the victim wrote in his journal that night, even after the IV had begun at 11 o'clock p.m. Let's read it, shall we? Oh, but there's a page torn out here.
This does appear to have been written just before his death. The court accepts this into evidence.
And we have that last page right here. Read the very last part with particular care. This gentleman anterior may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand. Of course, by his. He refers to our defendant Zachariah.
That would make sense, yes. He was the first scheduled visitor after all.
But look at what he said before that. This gentleman anterior may go on. It may go on. Magnify Grammaria intended to write again. That is, if Zachariah didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands the meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on. It ends. Because Magnify's life was brought to an end by the defendant Zachariah. But there was a torn-off page.
Order! Prosecutor Gavin, are you certain that Magnify Grammaria wrote this?
There was no mistaking his handwriting.
Well, this does seem to be significant. According to this, Magnify did intend to continue his diary. Yet if his diary ended here, which plainly it did,
then the one who pulled the trigger was the first visitor. Zachariah. Well, how do you like me now, Herr Wright? Still too green for your tastes,
He's right about the diary being pretty clear. Still, I find it hard to believe that he'd overlook such an obvious problem with his precious evidence. Aha! That's right.
Well, Mr. Wright, the witness's testimony we heard was lacking. But put together with his evidence, it seems quite sufficient for a case.
If the diary's accepted like this, the trial's over. Maybe it's time for me to show them something. Yeah, the last page that's torn off. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence.
What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary?
It's not too late to rethink this and avoid more embarrassment.
Very well, please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright.
Incidentally, don't even think of showing us this diary I've just shown the court. Now that we've come this far, I hope you have something a little more decisive. Show us evidence that proves the victim continued writing this diary.
Alright, I'd be happy to. The decisive evidence proving that the diary didn't end with this page is... Where is it? Notebook page, right here. Take that! Booyah! First, take a close look at this diary. Hee hee. Note that a page has clearly been ripped out.
What's this? I hadn't noticed that at all.
That's why we're still here talking about this. As it just so happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page. Alaka, I don't believe it. Looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot Magnify Grammaria. Sorry guys, I'm messaging people here. Okay. That's the defense's position.
Wait, let me see that.
Haha.
What in Samuel? Why, this is the continuation of the victim's diary.
You gonna put it inside the diary? Hehehe. Hold on, guys. Sorry, guys. Okay. Note the torn edge of the page. It's a perfect match with the torn remains of the last page in Magnify's diary. Quite remarkable. Would you care to explain what all this means, Herr Attorney? The diary continued after his first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Zachariah left, leaving no one to take his life but the second visitor. Grammaria! No! No! Sucker!
The handwriting too matches out on the other pages. This is without a doubt the genuine article.
That's right, baby.
Order, order, order!
But wait, that's impossible. That old man couldn't have written that. Objection! Oh, jeez. Finally. You just couldn't resist, could you, Herr Wright? Resist what? Presenting solid evidence? Herr Judge?
Yes, Prosecutor Gavin?
Might I request that we put the current cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness.
But Prosecutor Gavin, this evidence overturns the current witnesses.
I ask only to put on hold. Please, my new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes, no more. I promise, Your Honor.
Well, if you put it that way, Mr. Wright, what's your take on this?
Well, Your Honor, judging it from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear this new testimony sooner or later anyway, so it might as well be sooner.
Then, though this is highly irregular, we will put the court's cross-examination on hold. The witness may step down. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring the surprise witness to the courtroom.
I had a bad feeling just then. That ripped-out page was too obvious. He must have known. And I should have known it was a bad sign all around. And that was the forged evidence, maybe, that they were talking about, which made him lose his job.
Holding trial with no audience is a first, even for me, Prosecutor Gavin.
I made the court's understanding. But I had to make a judiciary deal with the witness to secure his testimony.
A judiciary deal?
The details of his testimony... Oh! That's the painter guy. The details of his testimony may have some legal ramifications, shall we say. Wow, so he really knew a lot about us of the current day before he got killed. I thought it best to contain the information to this room.
Very well. And you are the witness, I gather?
Holy crap. Yes, sir. State your name and occupation for the record. My name is Drew Misham. I'm a painter.
A painter? And you're somehow related to this case?
No, well, not per se. I have one simple question for this witness. Mr. Misham, was it? Do you know what this is? Oh, yeah, I know it well.
How is that possible? Have you seen this diary page somewhere before?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I made it.
You what? You made it?
Yes. You might call it one of my works.
It's the forged guy. Holy crap.
The regional prosecutor's office received a tip-off yesterday. Illegal evidence has been prepared for the trial of Zachariah.
Illegal evidence?
I initiated an investigation and found this witness. A painter to the world at large, Drew Misham is another side, you might say. He is skilled in making perfect reproductions of certain things. Forgeries, in other words.
Forgeries? Well, so we are to understand that this page here is...
a fake. Prepared by a certain investigator.
Hold it! I didn't prepare this evidence!
Ah, the attorney speaks. Something about this page, I presume, but what is he saying? It makes no sense. After all, it was you who presented this evidence to us, Phoenix, right?
Witness, Mr. Misham, was it? Who requested this forgery? Who was your client?
That, I don't know. What? Most of my clients prefer to remain anonymous, even to me. I make the items I want and receive my payment. That's the extent of my contact with them. But there's no proof that this is a fake. It's a fake. Huh? To avoid just this sort of problem, I always put a special mark on my words. I can say without a doubt, this is mine.
Oh my God. Mr. Wright, you have just presented illegal evidence to this court. My court.
It was careless of me. That's all I can say.
Oh boy. Here.
What's this?
I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. He said it was really important.
It was all a trap. A fatal trap.
Mr. Wright?
Yes?
Do you have an explanation for yourself?
If I did, would the court hear it?
Probably not. Forging evidence is a serious crime, and presenting it in court a serious mistake. A fatal mistake for an attorney.
Fatal too, perhaps, for your client, I fear. Tell me, what kind of defendant relies on forged evidence? The answer is quite clear. A guilty one!
Your Honor, wait! I understand that presenting forged evidence in court is a serious crime, but you cannot hold my client responsible for actions I undertook as an individual. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright.
Your Honor,
Another close call, I dare say. If the prosecutor's office hadn't received that hot tip, everything would have gone the way you wanted it to, Jacques. I even gave you a chance. Too bad you decided not to think before embarrassing yourself.
I see no need for further discussion of this matter. Special witness dismissed.
Holy crap. Mr. Attorney.
Yes?
Can I ask your name?
Huh? Phoenix Wright.
Mr. Wright. I have seen and studied many people, but none like you. I'll remember you, Mr. Wright.
Though I deeply regret having to declare a verdict in this way, this trial is over. You have the right to find a new attorney and make an appeal. However, this court must...
Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Zack?
There's one thing I wish to make clear. Today, in this courtroom, you cannot declare me guilty. It is impossible.
I'm afraid the defendant is quite mistaken. I most certainly have the authority to declare a verdict on you.
Except, tell me, how do you plan on announcing your verdict when your defendant does not exist?
Doesn't exist? What are you talking about?
I am talking about this.
Oh my god. Mr. Enigmar! The defense escaped. Find him quick.
Bailiff, close all exits from the building. On the double, you must not be allowed to escape.
That day in that courtroom, a miracle occurred. The defendant, Shady Enigmar, aka Zachamaria, did not just escape from court. He literally unbelievably vanished. Right before the bailiff's eyes. No one ever saw him again. Not since that day. This is the Grimoire miracle. Ha 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 ha. No verdict was declared. After all, the defendant didn't exist. That's how it happened. The trial magician Zachamaria vanished along with him for all eternity. The mysteries that remained behind were all solved, however, but not until 7 years later. Alright everybody, that was Phoenix Wright's final trial from 7 years ago. We are going to be continuing on with the final case here. Let's go ahead and save our game right now. It's a good 40 minutes. Alright, let's go ahead and just... Oh, here we go. The trial 7 years ago was the beginning of it all. This I know beyond a doubt. The mysteries of the past work their magic on the present. You'll soon be finding all of this out for yourself. Which of magnified Grimoire's disciples pulled that trigger? Where did the vanishing defendant Zachamaria go? What dark truth lurks behind the forged diary page? And what about the girl who was left behind? Alright. Whoa! What's going on now? Oh yeah, I forgot about this. What? The past left us these 4 keys to unlocking the truth. This is so cool. But that's not all. There are 4 keys in the present as well. And when all the questions have found their answers, the final trial will begin. But first you must chase the truth through then and now. Think of it as a game. Huh? I, Phoenix Wright, will be your guide through this game. That terrible trial saw me present forged evidence. Can I save my game or what? God. It ended half-finished when the defendant vanished. What became of me after that? As your investigation proceeds, the answer will become clear. Oh, and one more thing. There is something I must tell you. As Apollo Justice has his bracelet, so too do I have my own weapon of sorts. My Magatama. Oh, that's right! What does it do, you ask? That I would have you see for yourself. Well now, shall we begin? Touch the arrow to switch between past and present. What? But let's begin 7 years ago in the past. It is right after my last trial came to an abrupt end. Now that you know the game, let's play. Cool. What in the world? Look at this. 7 years ago. Holy cow, this is awesome. Okay, I cannot wait for tomorrow. Alright, I'm gonna save my game. Holy crap, I'm excited. Oh man, am I excited for the investigation tomorrow. Holy cow, that's gonna be awesome. What does it say? Mason system. Wow. Alright, so we got a totally new system now for the Ace Attorney game starting tomorrow. So, thanks everybody for watching today's part for Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. Can't wait for tomorrow's part, and I'll see you guys in my next video coming soon. Objection!